Have you ever wondered how the top dungeon masters around the world build their worlds? It's quite obvious. They have a lot of material prepared, but at the same time, they never have to railroad their players. They seem to be on top of everything, even when they get surprised. In this video, I'm going to review what their world building hack is, why any level of DM should use it to transform their games, and I will give you a simple guide on how to do it in your own campaign. But how am I so sure it's going to make your games better? I know, because it already changed mine. I've been playing and running D&D on and off for over 20 years. About 2 years ago, I decided to get back into the DM chair. However, there was a big problem. As a father of 2 with a full-time job, it seemed impossible to fit all of the prep I felt was needed to have a decent session ready for my friends. That's when I found the writing of Mike Shea. Thanks to Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master and his other writing, I learned how to prepare a fun and engaging session for my players in an hour or less. But what does any of this have to do with world building? The traditional approach used by DMs, fantasy authors, and other world builders is top-down. Usually, you would start with the big things. For example, the pantheon of the gods or the various kingdoms and their political relationships. That's even what the 2014 Dungeon Master Guide recommends. I'm here to tell you a secret. You don't really need any of those things in order to run a fun and exciting game for your players. Actually, if you write down too many details, they will make it harder for you to improvise and respond to the actions of your players. The best way to do world building for D&D is to only fill out as much detail as you need for your players and to adjust it to their actions over the coming sessions. This is what spiral world building is all about. It's a dungeon master method where you start small with the player's immediate surroundings and expand the world outwards in concentric circles. Focus on the areas the players show interest in. Develop only what's necessary for the next session or two. This will lead to an organic and evolving campaign setting that is deeply influenced by the player's actions. This approach will save you time, encourage your players' engagement, and ensure almost every detail you create has immediate relevance to the story happening at the table. Every dungeon master should try spiral world building at least once, regardless if they're a veteran or just starting out. This approach creates a game that is inherently more fun and memorable. A setting built with it will give your players an authentic sense of agency and give their actions true impact. Their characters, their backstories, and the choices they make are woven directly into the narrative, making the game more immersive for everyone around the table. Traditional world building can be very exhausting. It often leads dungeon masters to burnout as they try to flesh out every aspect of their world, only for their intense labor to go unused as their players go into an unexpected direction. With spiral world building, you are encouraged to develop only what you need. This means less stress and a more sustainable approach to running a long campaign. The ability to adapt on the fly and improvise is a crucial skill for any dungeon master. Spiral world building doesn't shackle you to a fixed narrative. If your players throw you a curveball, you won't have to railroad them into a pre-written plot. Your prep time will become more focused and productive. Instead of worrying about distant lands or ancient history, you concentrate on the places and plots your players are interacting with. Your setting will become richer and deeper only in the spots it needs to be. This will allow you to be ready for a session even if you're having a busy week. If you choose to invest additional time, you feel better about spending it on things that are more likely to make it into the actual session. As the story unfolds one step at a time, there will be a sense of discovery for both the players and you as the DM. This shared exploration will lead to exciting, unscripted moments that aren't possible when everything is predetermined during prep. My favorite games as a DM are when my players surprise me and force me to improvise. If I knew the entire story from beginning to end, I would feel pretty bored. The pressure to have a fully detailed world from the first session is off. Use your improvisation to fill in the blanks as you go. This leads to more creative and spontaneous gameplay that is rewarding for everyone involved. Let the players join in the fun. They can flesh out some of the world lore with the events in their own backstories. events. You can also use the conspiracy theories they come up with around the table and make them true. Managing a vast world can be daunting. By focusing on smaller chunks at a time, your task will be a lot easier. As the campaign progresses, the world expands naturally. This gradual growth will make your setting feel lived in and realistic. Players can witness the direct results of their previous adventures. The world will change based on their victories and failures. Because you're not spending time over prepping, you will feel less attached to plots and NPCs that are becoming less and less relevant because the players are taking the campaign in a different direction. Every group of players is different. Spider world building allows you to tailor the campaign to fit the playstyle of your group. Whether they enjoy combat, exploration, or intrigue, you can develop the world in a direction that caters to what they find most enjoyable. So, let's break down the steps of Spider world building. You start with the campaign pitch. This should provide the campaign with a central theme. You will know you have something good if you can fit it in a single sentence with a verb that provides a clear direction to the players. This shouldn't contain any secrets, as you will share it with your players during session 0. Save the kingdom from complete destruction before the time runs out. Once you've settled on the pitch of your campaign, you will need 6 truths. These are facts or beliefs about the world known to every player and their characters. They will guide the players during character creation and will help you prep future sessions. They should provide a rough framework for the type of stories the campaign will be about. Here are the 6 truths for our example. The ruins of ancient civilizations litter the kingdom. The nobles of the land are corrupted and unpopular. The king was once a great hero, but he is now old and frail. There is talk of a necromancer. There are many rumors about something unnatural happening deep in the east. The Order of the Knights of the Realm is busy squabbling over politics. There is unrest in the north, where the kingdom borders with the elves. Wizards and scholars have seen a bleeding comet in the sky growing ever larger. Next, you need to come up with at least 3 campaign fronts. These are the various forces opposing the players or following their own malevolent agendas. As the campaign moves forward, some fronts might be resolved and you can come up with new ones to take their place. Start by identifying the fronts. What are the major sources of tension and conflict in your campaign? These can be powerful villains or forces of nature. A necromancer is plotting to take the throne with an undead army. An approaching comet is believed to herald the end times. There is talk of weird things going on near the ruins of the ancient civilizations. Some scholars believe the comet will hit the ground and destroy the world. Many people go missing into the ancient ruins of the previous civilizations. Before they go missing, many of them told their families they're hearing voices calling for them. Next, determine the goals of each of the fronts. What is the end game for the necromancer? What are the consequences of the comet's arrival? And what's going on in those ruins? Understanding the end game of your fronts will help you to determine their next moves and how they change the world. Now you need to outline their grim portents. These are milestones that signal the progression of a front's plans and actions. They should be visible and impactful events within the game world that can serve as a countdown to the front's ultimate goal. Here are 3 portents for our necromancer. A mysterious plague is wiping entire villages in the east. The dead are rising in unusually large numbers. Eventually, an entire undead army marches on the capital. These fronts will save you from trying to predict the future. Don't waste time preparing plots that might never come to pass. This might seduce you into railroading the party. Instead, only consider how the 3 fronts develop in real time. After each session, you can work out if any of the fronts are advancing or if the player's actions undid their progress. Spider world building is one of the best tools created by Mike Shea, but it is completely useless if you ignore his approach to starting game sessions. Learn all about it in this video.